Everybody's talking at me.
CRN Digital Talk Radio, the original Talkback with Chuck Wilder, Paul Stern, standing by the toll-free number 1-800-336-2225. 800-336-2225. We are live across America on this radio station or cable system, and of course always around the world at www.crntalk.com. And today, what a busy show. Have you ever had one of those things where, you know, the faster you go, the behinder you get? That's the kind of day I'm having today. But it's going to be exciting as we kick off the Memorial Day weekend. Reese Lloyd, civil rights attorney, director of Veterans Memorials, California. We're going to talk about Memorial Day, also an update on the Ninth Circuit Court on the Cross case. Penny Nance, she is the CEO for Concerned Women of America. We're going to ask, we're going to talk about Don't Ask, Don't Tell. You know, they just voted on it yesterday. Also, is Sarah Palin being stalked? We're going to talk about her stalker. Melissa Henson, Director of Communications Public Education for the Parents Television Council. A brand new CBS show coming up this season with some censored words in the title. They just want to push the envelope, see how far you'll let them go. And to wrap things up, Alan Wall, writer for VDare. He is a former school teacher in Mexico, member of the United States National Guard, served a term in Iraq, now teaches in America. We're going to talk about Calderon meddling in Congress, while the Mexican Senate president tells all the Hispanics, be sure to vote for the Democrats. And just a quick note here, senior White House advisors asked former President Bill Clinton to talk to Joe Sestak about whether he was serious about running for the Senate and to fill out whether he'd be open to other alternatives. I'm going to have Drew Zahn on Tuesday. We'll be talking about this in depth. Now, according to the sources, pardon me, White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel asked Clinton and his longtime advisor, lawyer Doug Bann, to talk to Sestak about the race. Now, it's unclear right now whether the White House will say that Clinton was asked to suggest specific administrative positions for Sestak, and whether Clinton floated positions on his own, whether he discussed other options not related to the administration, or whether employment even came up in the talks. And, you know, if you just stop and think about all the smoke and mirrors you constantly get out of this administration, do you think that Emanuel just one day woke up and said, hey, I think I'll talk to old Bill and see if he can talk to somebody else about maybe, ooh, yes, this would be just wonderful, but we won't mention Obama's name at all. And is it possible the White House sent Clinton to talk to Sestak because Arlen Specter, constituting the 60th Democratic vote in the Senate, was viewed as a key to enacting Obama's agenda? And then look what happened to Specter. Amazing. Well, sad news, you know, because child actor Gary Coleman has died, 42 years old. He was suffering from what they call a serious medical problem, and so far not getting any word on what that is. I haven't heard. Right now, I want to go to Reese Lloyd, judge advocate, post 79 out in California, past commander of District 21. He is director and attorney, Defense of Veterans Memorials Project for the American Legion Department of California. He also writes with newswithviews.com. Reese, how are you, sir?
Well, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it, especially on this beginning of Memorial Day observances.
You know, perhaps my second favorite holiday, Memorial Day, I get to be very patriotic. Well, you know that. You've been to the Wilder Ranch, and you see that I am the only person in the neighborhood that flies an American flag. But anyway, and I guess my favorite is the 4th of July. Have always been wrapped up in that holiday since, day one. Before we really get into Memorial Day, I understand there's new things happening with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, Mojave. And let me see here. You were talking about this U.S. Supreme Court's recent decision overturning the lower court's orders to destroy the Latin Cross at the Mojave Desert. But some new things have come. And, you know, you surprised me when I spoke with you this morning, Reese, because I didn't know they'd already put up the temporary cross at the one that was torn down. So give us an update on this, would you please?
Well, I sure will, especially because it is Memorial Day, and people will be going, especially American Legionnaires, VFW members and their families, and other veterans are going to be going out to veteran cemeteries, the 125 we have in the country, and to veterans memorials all over the country. And they ought to be able to go to memorials that are set up by communities as they choose to honor their war dead. And that includes, by inclusion of a cross, if those communities choose, and there should not be a veto held by the ACLU and other secular cleansing fanatics. And what's happened is that we have two cases that right now are the most important establishment of religion case clause cases that are pending. One is the Mojave Desert Veterans Memorial Cross case that was just decided by the U.S. Supreme Court, and the other is the Mount Soledad National Veterans Memorial case, which is pending in the Ninth Circuit. The U.S. Supreme Court, after 10 years of litigation by the ACLU, in which the American Legion, VFW, and others are fighting them, had a tremendous defeat. We had a tremendous victory when the Supreme Court ruled to overturn the orders of the U.S. District Court in Riverside and the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal ordering the cross at the Mojave Desert Veterans Memorial to be destroyed. And the Supreme Court remanded it to the U.S. District Court for further proceedings consistent with the Supreme Court's decision, which is very favorable to us. And what happened was, within about 10 days, on Sunday night, May 10th, some dedicated secular extremist fascists went out and tore down the cross that was bolted to a rock outcrop known as the Sunrise Rock. This is 11 miles off the highway in the desert.
And Reese, when was that again? Was it April? No.
It was April 28th was the Supreme Court decision, and then on May 10th, the night of May 10th,
that's when it was
destroyed by vandals, and they carried it off. Now, this must have been either somebody the size of Hercules or Gargantua,
right,
or several people working in concert, ordinarily known as a conspiracy, because that cross was about 8 feet tall, made of pipe, and the pipe was filled with cement, and it was bolted to Sunrise Rock with steel, and it could not have been taken off with a wrench because of it so rusted out.
And we don't have any further information on who or whom, and you know the latest on the amount of the reward, because I know our good friend in Riverside, Joe,